Alright guys, the heading for this section of notes is Chapter 12, Section 4. This is the last section of notes before your test on Friday. You'll get a study guide on Thursday, and we will have our test on Friday. There's some objectives for this section, some words and their definitions. Alright, so your first heading is the Senate. And this is about laws being passed in the Senate. So the Senate standing committees, that's what they're called, they deal with bills in a similar way as the House of Representatives. However, there are some minor differences. One of the biggest differences is that the rules for the Senate floor proceedings are less formal and strict. So the House has more formal and more strict rules for their committees than the Senate does. Alright, so there are some limitations, and that's on debating a bill being passed in the Senate. So debate in the Senate. There are a few limits on floor debate in the Senate. One of the rules in general is that a senator, so rule number 1, is a senator can speak on the floor as long as he or she pleases about any topic that he or she wants to. However, no senator may speak more than twice on the same question on the same day. So that's the rule. No senator may speak more than twice on the same question on the same day. Many Senate bills are debated under a unanimous consent agreement that limits the amount of floor debate. So if they're debating under a unanimous consent agreement, so debated under a unanimous consent agreement limits the amount of floor time that each senator will get to have to speak on that topic. Your next heading is the filibuster. So a filibuster, so we're just going to do like the definition. A filibuster is a stalling tactic used by a minority of senators to talk a bill to death. So it's a tactic used to stall or to take up time. In the hopes that after talking for so long that the bill will die so that they can move on to something else. So filibusters try to take up so much floor time with debating, with speeches, and other time-killing motions that the Senate has to drop or modify a bill to move forward. So a filibuster kind of keeps the Senate stuck. And so it's like one side like playing chicken. One side eventually gives in so that the Senate can move forward onto other things. The Senate has some tactics to try to get around the filibusters. So to beat filibusters by holding long daily sessions and enforcing strict rules to wear down the talkers so that they can't talk, for days on end. This guy over here, no new heading, Strom Thurmond, he holds the record for a filibuster holding the floor. So he, by himself, held the floor and talked for 24 hours and 18 minutes to try to stall a bill from passing. Today, most filibusters are team efforts with senators taking turns. So most filibusters are team efforts with senators taking turns talking, so it's not one person talking the whole time. More than 300 measures or potential bills have been killed by filibusters. So sometimes it works, and the Senate decides to kill the bill and not try to pass it, so they can move on to the rest of the business they need to. The cloture rule. So the cloture rule was adopted in 1917 after a 3-week filibuster killed a measure related to World War I. So the filibuster took 3 weeks, and it killed a potential bill related to the war, so this rule was adopted. What does it do? It allows debate to be limited by a special procedure that requires support by 60 senators. Only 1/3 of the 600 attempts to invoke cloture have succeeded, so filibusters remain effective. So we're just going to say filibusters remain effective. But this cloture rule is kind of the way around a filibuster. But there's kind of a reason why, and here it is. The reason why only 1/3 of the cloture attempts have succeeded is because senators often oppose cloture to preserve free debate and the value of the filibuster. So that's the main reason that the cloture rule doesn't succeed. All right, so we've talked about conference committees a little bit in our prior notes, but they're bringing it up here because it is part of the Senate and it's part of the House. So that's why it's in this section about the Senate as well, because the conference committee is people from the House of Representatives and senators where they come together on one committee. So the definition of conference committee is that it's formed to iron out the differences and create a compromise bill. That way the two houses can compromise in one bill. So the people who get to be on the conference committees are usually leading members of the standing committees that handled the bill in each house. So if your committee was part of that bill in the House and then you were on the committee also, a different person was on the committee in the Senate, then usually the key members of those committees come together to form the conference committee because they know the most about the bill because they've been working with it for a while now to get it passed in their chamber. It's really rare for either chamber of Congress to reject a compromise bill that's been approved by the conference committee. So the conference committee does its job by getting the bill passed, with getting the compromise in there so that each chamber of Congress is happy with the way the bill has turned out. The reason it's rare for a compromise bill approved by the conference committee to be rejected is because the influence of committee members and the fact that there is usually little time left in a session to consider the bill. All right, next is the Rules Committee. So the majority party in the House, whoever that is, Senate, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, often use the Rules Committee to advance the agenda. The Rules Committee, what can they do? They can restrict floor debate about a bill, or they can even bypass standing committees. By bringing the bill directly to the floor for a vote. So they're kind of bypassing the committee referring the bill for a vote, because the Rules Committee is kind of in the House that can kind of do what they want. They have a lot of power. So this is about what the president does when the bill has, after it's went through the House of Representatives and the Senate. The president acts. What does the president do? So all bills that pass Congress are sent to the president, who can do one of 4 things. So the first thing that the president can do is sign the bill into law. The second thing the president can do is veto or refuse to sign the bill. The third thing that the president can do is let the bill become a law by not signing it within 10 days. So if the bill stays on the president's desk or stays after it's been sent to the president, he doesn't sign it within 10 days, it automatically becomes a law. So that's the way that a bill can become a law without the signature of the president. And the last one is kind of the opposite of number 3. So number 4, the president can kill a bill by using a pocket veto. So a pocket veto is that if the bill is sent to the president to be signed and Congress adjourns or goes home within 10 days of submitting the bill that the president has not signed, it dies automatically by pocket veto. So it's a bill that the president has not signed. We're going to kind of add our own little note here. A bill that the president has not signed, but Congress leaves. It's time for them to adjourn and leave. A bill the president has not signed, but Congress leaves before the 10 days. It's called a pocket veto. So Congress can override a veto. The way that they do that, so Congress can override a veto with a 2/3 majority of each house. But this is very rare. So it means the House of Representatives would have 2/3 of the members of the House would have to vote yes on the bill, and 2/3 of the members of Senate would have to vote yes on the bill in order to override a president's veto. It has happened, but it's rare. So members of Congress work hard to gather support and find co-sponsors before they draft and submit a bill. They don't want to submit a bill that they know isn't going to go anywhere, because it's a lot of work to gather support, find people to sponsor it, write the bill, submit the bill. It's a lot of work. If you don't think it's going to pass, then you try to find people to support you in your bill. Authors of the bills will also tweak the wording so they can be favorable. I'm not going to speak too long on this because we did the video and the assignment last week about how a bill becomes a law. But this will be a good reference tool for you for your test on Friday. So how does a bill become a law? If it's introduced in the House, you follow the 4 steps shown right here in the graphic. And then it moves to the Senate. So it's introduced in the House, then it's referred to a committee, and then the committee submits it for approval. It goes to the Rules Committee, then it goes to the floor for debate. Bills are often referred to more than one standing committee for study and approval, because one committee may approve it and send it to the floor and the other one may not. So you kind of want to have more than one committee on it to try to get a better chance of it going to the floor. So then this is part 2 of how a bill becomes a law. A bill introduced in the Senate begins with steps 5 through 7 and then moves to the House. So we've got introduced in the Senate, it gets signed to a committee, and then they automatically start debating on it. So you can see the differences there in the House. And then after both of those have happened, then you follow steps 8 through 9, because it says they're often not needed if it's been approved by one House. Then it's left unchanged. Please check back for part 2.